And we're back with a line for our last topic of the week. The New Mexico Public Education Department announced this week that 4 low-performing elementary schools have been identified as needing, quote, more rigorous intervention, end quote. 3 of those schools are here in Albuquerque and 1 is in Dulce, up by the Colorado border. The districts now must choose 1 of 4 options to address failing school performance, including closing the schools, making them into charters, or redesigning elements of the staffing and the school day schedule. Tom, it's interesting when I was reading about these bullet points about what to do. You know, these are pretty severe changes, but for a lot of schools, just wiping out the staff and upper management's not an answer either, as we have found over the years as well. So we've got these elementary schools not performing, but there's a hard line being taken by PED I'm going to talk about in a second too. But what was your initial sense when you read this story? Is it a sign of something that we need to get after, or is this just individual schools struggling with individual problems?
Yeah, well, I think each school community has their own unique issues that they work through. I didn't do a geo kind of track to see where the schools are located, but my guess is, if I were to just use stereotypes, is that you would say it's probably not in the Northeast Heights.
Right.
These are very economically disadvantaged areas where they have a lot of unique family structures, and so I think you need to have unique issues or unique solutions, and to have these bulleted solutions as far as the rigorous intervention.
Right.
You know, it's a step. I think it tends to be more therapeutic because you're just not going to go in by making a local school a charter school is going to fix everything. Providing more power to parents is not going to fix anything because you have some really strong systemic issues that need to be addressed to help benefit the learning process.
Eric, let me ask you about these systemic issues. There's a quote here from our Education Secretary, Mr. Roskowski, saying, Albuquerque, well, I want to get to that one in a second. He questioned why APS has taken more action to improve these schools on its own. He expects the district will make issues by citing the school's poverty rates and demographics. He just sort of goes there. And says, you know what, that stuff really doesn't count. It's an excuse.
Well, that flies in the face of flies in the face of pretty much all credible research in education. But that aside, instead of rigorous intervention, how about rigorous investment, rigorous support? This whole budget conversation we had earlier it goes to the heart of what are we prepared to invest, especially in the areas and especially for the kids. For example, early childhood, this chronic lack of willingness among policymakers, the very same folks, to say, okay, if we're ever going to change this dynamic, we've got to start investing more rigorously, more aggressively, earlier on, and for these very kids. As opposed to waiting for schools and, frankly, a generation of kids to sort of fall through the cracks, to fail, and then to enter all of the negative parts of our system where they cost more money. I hate to keep coming back to this idea of, you can pay now or you can pay later. And this is a classic example of trying to there are real problems in these schools. But to argue that this is about whether you have a dynamic principal or whether you have the right, obviously those things make a difference, and you have to have good teachers. The other part of this is the conversation around what we're paying teachers, how we're supporting teachers, how we're really providing after-school programs, early education programs. If we're serious about changing the dynamic in education, penalizing schools who are in the worst shape. I mean, Dulce, look at the population. We know what the population is in communities like Dulce. And on all those schools, as Tom said, they're high poverty, racially very, very different than some of the other high-performing schools. So I think we just have to be honest. If we're serious about changing this dynamic, it's going to cost money. It's going to take some political will, and it's going to take some investment in these very kids.
Right. The Education Secretary for New Mexico also calls this a gut check for Albuquerque, which is interesting to me, as if having these 3 schools out of the ton of them that we have here is somehow a sign that we're all failing down here. And you can't help but sense that bias against the city of Albuquerque coming out of this administration. How I
think it's a bias against APS, and it's warranted. I mean,
more specifically.
Yeah, I mean, come on. And on one hand, we're trying to prove the worth of charter schools, and we've got a school board member gone because of embezzling charter school funds for private use. 33% of students in this state go to school in APS. And APS has they have the most resources, they have the most students, they have among the worst statistics statewide.
That's right.
So if you look at APS and you look at Dulce, I can see PED understanding that the school district behind Old Shea does not have the resources of APS.
Thank you.
And
Exactly.
PED, there's $10 million the PED is putting toward these 4 schools. So I'm hopeful that they'll be able to intervene more directly with Dolce because there's not as much infrastructure, and it's going to be a fight with APS. And where I really get upset with APS is they have the resources. They've seen these 3 schools failing for years. They're
Right.
elementary schools.
That's right.
None of these changes can be implemented until the 2018-2019 school year, which means I think it's fair to say there are entire classrooms of children who've been passed on to out of elementary school who cannot read.
That's right. Fair enough. Absolutely fair enough there. So, what do you think? Is this something against APS? Is the secretary coming from a position you're comfortable with here by dismissing things like history and
No, I mean,
historical?
I think to echo what Eric was saying, to say, that demographics aren't an element of it, that economics aren't an element of it. I mean, we're looking at, in some cases, schools where kids move in and out of that school frequently. There are kids coming in who don't speak English or speak very little English.
That's right.
There are special needs kids coming in. And this PED has a really hard time dealing with the complexity of education in a school system like ours and a state like ours. I live actually very close to one of the schools, and we know in the community where those kids are coming from. We can see that there's a real economic challenge for
That's
a lot
right.
of those kids.
That's right.
And if
ask
we're
you to wrap up a
not
little bit. Sorry about
investing
that.
in early education for them,
That's right. 30 seconds, Tom, if you would. Sorry about that. Just a little tight on time there.
Oh, yeah. And I thought you were going to wrap up with Sophie. So I was
know.
like, oh,
It
no,
was-
okay, this
she was
is a
rolling.
good conversation. I was just kind of listening. But, the larger issue is at play is how do you engage communities? You know,
Right.
charter schools,
That's
one
right.
particular charter school that had 60% absentee rate
Right.
in the first year.
That's
a
right.
systemic issue.
Just a quick clarification. That was Ms. Maesta's daughter. That was the embezzler there, not the school board member you mentioned. Thank you all for joining us. See you next time.